Hello and welcome to Sim Strategy Gaming. I'm Sim. This episode will be about the third chapter of the campaign of Empire Railway 2, The Great Plains. We play as the general. His abilities, they allow us to develop flat areas for a lower cost, while bridges and tunnels in more rugged areas will be more expensive. Looking at tech, we notice that we have moved on a bit. We are now almost approaching the 1870s, and we might aim for this better express locomotive is very nice. We will do that, and these to raise the bonds. It's also very good, very important. But we shouldn't neglect all the techs that might be further on back, and cheap techs like this one, for example. Just 100 invention points for increasing transport revenues of mail bags. This is good. So keep that in mind to go all the way back and check for the cheap ones. The cheap ones are better than the more expensive ones because you can have more than of the cheap ones. We will start out as usual, connecting all the cities in the concession areas that we have access to in the beginning. Not here and not here, but all these cities, also going from the little settlement of Dodge and moving up here and on this main line connecting these 4 cities. And then there will be little freight lines, one-liners, cheap ones, going into the cities where, yes, we have already been able to afford the warehouses so that we can spread the goods all over. Particularly important to connect all the connection bonuses so we can have them rolling in as fast as possible. This one was a little far away. Could perhaps have made this line shorter if we had connected it here, but then we would need an additional warehouse in Wichita, and we already have a warehouse in Tupaga, so then we could use this for both corn and grain. We have, for now, skipped on Denver, even though we have access to this city without buying concessions. We have our competitor here, and it would be more expensive to build across his existing infrastructure. And we didn't have any more money, even though we borrowed as much as possible. This time I found it better to borrow 2 of the smallest one and then a big one. We got a little bit more money from that and a little less interest. So I went with that for this time. Pointing out that these cities, perhaps except for Wichita and Kansas, are very small. Topeka is small here. It needs this settling bonus to keep really expanding. It's just 1,000 citizens by now, not very much. Dodge isn't a real city yet. It's a settlement, so it needs to grow before it can become a proper city. It needs to have these goods delivered to it. And keeping that in mind, that we are going to earn less money in the beginning on this map than we did on the previous map of England, where the cities were already grown into a more proper size, like with Kansas, 20,000, that's a proper size for a city. 1,000 is very small, and the settlements are even less. In our engine shed, let's have a look there. We find that we have advanced a bit, and we have now reached the absolutely excellent one of my favorites, the Inu. Mixed train, not too expensive, pretty fast, good enough tractive power, popularity, maintenance, everything is good with this one. Later on, when we can afford to double our tracks to have 4 lanes, then we can go for this express train and have really fast express lanes to take the express goods, and then the Inu can be left more to take freight. We have freight trains as well, and we're going to use them. We have several. This is an earlier train than these others. Still a good one, the Baldwin. We can also use the others look at this. This might be a cheaper train and a less powerful train than this, but we might not need this powerful train. And the best thing about the consolidation is that it has very low maintenance requirements. So it means they can go back and forth without needing to be fixed. And fixing trains take time, and it also costs money. So it's good to have trains that doesn't require that much maintenance. Also looking at the consumption and these things, how much would it take to run? Personnel, put it up to maximum efficiency, no matter how you like it. And then I guess we are ready to see how this plays out. And then a year later, 1869, we have been able to complete a full circle that we started in the beginning. We have bought up this region here and added the Omaha and North Platte to complete this big nice circle that we can further expand upon later. We can crisscross this over and do a lot of things inside here, but for now we have this solid base in a circle with trains going around and around, and then we connect things upon this. We have connected this little extra freight lines to Platte, and then Denver comes as an addition here. We are going to build further upon Denver and try to make that into a circle as well, but for now it's connected to this city, and then there will be a warehouse here. And we can see the warehouse there. It's pretty busy. There isn't room for all of the wares that Denver might need, but for now these goods will do great, and we can see now that Denver is getting most of what it's needs through the warehouse, while at the same time not being connected to the main line. It has its own little auxiliary line coming in. Yeah, but this will work. This will work fine. Looking at our budget, we can see money are coming in. Not too much traffic jams. This is turning out okay. You see, we have been steadily developing, particularly in the last quarter. After we've been able to complete the circle, then we will have a huge bump because trains will be able to go both ways, and we're starting to build a system. And then to point out one thing about the competitors and such, they are kind of annoying, and sometimes they can be really snide as well, and I might be a little irritated by them, and you have to build over them. They present this challenge for building, but they want the same thing as we do. They want to increase the populations of these cities, and we are in many ways also collaborating with our competitors. So one shouldn't look at them as the enemy. They are competitors, and a friendly competition is in many ways more lucrative and better for us than to be trying to sabotage, spending money on ruining his game, where we might be better off trying to just improve our gameplay and see how can we take advantage of our competitor as long as he's there. One advantage things is that we can now go to Camp Ratoon as well, because people here in Platte, for example, they aren't, but they might. We might use his existing rail structure to build upon our own, so then we will have more passengers coming from, say, Omaha to Platte for Denver in order to go further on by his trains to Rantoon. So then we are sort of collaborating there. All right, let's see how this plays out as we move into the next decade. So now, New Year's Eve, 1870, starting a new decade. Always have to be a little bit, slow down a bit and check. Let's see if we have moved, particularly on the tech side of things. We now have access to all this new main line over here. Now I've been a little bit extra good at catching up on earlier tech. So we haven't really advanced along the main line so much, but it's not that big of a problem. But anyways, one can check and then see that these techs are now available to us. Looking at our mission objectives, they were straightforward in the beginning, mostly concerning about growing Topeka and delivering something to Kansas, I think, growing Dodge, pretty much just developing this area around here. Now we are going to do something that are a little bit more complex. Say first we have to found a total of 2 cities. So then we already founded one city, we founded Dodge. But then we had the choice, should we try for Oklahoma or should we go for Cheyenne? And then the concession was kind of expensive for Wyoming territory, while for Indiana it was pretty much the same. And then Cheyenne might seem closer to us and easier, but all this existing infrastructure and such, it would have made a mess. And then to further develop this area, Rocky Springs and such, this is not very profitable. And with our general, that if you're going to have to build some bridges or tunnels or such, that he would pay a much higher price, particularly a higher price for those kinds of developments, in contrast to this area, which is completely flat. There might be a little bit long distances, but trains go fast on flat lines. So I prefer to start here, and then we can further, as we get access to these areas, we also have much more really lucrative zone down here, which can be developed entirely flat. I think that this south would be the better way to go, and then this northeastern path, northwestern path, a little bit. I'm gonna wait a little bit with developing that. What we have done is to make we played for 2 years now, so we had some time. So we made 4-lane tracks all the way around this main sort of inner circle, and then we added Denver to an extra circle. It goes back and forth here in Denver like this, but it's still a circle, as these 2 tracks here, they go in this direction here, direction of Omaha, while these 2 other tracks, they go down here and in the direction of Dodge, and then they're gonna meet, join this inner circle, and then go around and meet and come back into Denver. So Denver is now also a member of a full circle. Same with Oklahoma, developed around here. Just put an extra station here. I have some further plans for things I want to do in between. So then it's better to leave some space there, and as you start a new zone, one might connect it to the existing rails, but it might also be easier when you think of further developments to make a new station and also make it a bit neater here. Then this one turns like this and the other one turns the other way, so they don't have to sort of compete with which way the station is going to face. Looking at our next mission objective, we have this to produce 3 loads of beer per week in my factories, in our factories and businesses. And how to do that? Well, looking at the map and such, some flow of goods. Let's see. Okay, we got a lot of beer, so that's no big problem. We got too much actually, so we can easily buy up one and then put it down later. But this one, we're gonna produce. This one perhaps be a little big, but I think this is too big for us. But these 2 are too close. They don't need to have 2 beer factories immediately next to one another. And Topeka, it has immediate access to grain, so then grain goes straight in here. While Kansas, it had to reload this grain through a warehouse here and then go over there and such. That there might be some complications and such. I think I'm gonna buy the Kansas factory. Let's see. Okay, but this costs kind of a lot of money. Not that much actually, but I don't really have that much money, and it would always be better if it was a little bit cheaper. So what can I do then? I can go in here and I can see what trains are actually picking up beer from Kansas. And then now I see that Kansas, it should have picked up the beer here, but it doesn't, because I've turned it off. I told it, no, you cannot pick up the beer. And then the price for this factory just goes down and down and down. And very soon I will be able to buy it for just a couple of $100,000 instead of a couple of millions. And that is a big difference. And even though I could afford the factory for a higher price, still every credit not spent on rails in Empire Railway could usually have been more profitable if you spent it on rails. Now sometimes you have to spend money on other things than rails, of course, but be very cautious about that. Expanding and expanding until all cities are connected are usually the most profitable way of doing things. So, and then for the last thing, looking at the warehouses here, Oklahoma now being entirely supported by warehouses, going back and forth much like this. So then we can hopefully see that Oklahoma is getting all their important goods coming in here. Double warehouse system. These things mirroring these goods. Alright, so let's see if we can accomplish our missions a little on the budget perhaps. Are we making money? Yes. Things are growing steadily. More bonds to be issued. We're gonna build something really nice and see how this is going to play out. Now we have spent the money that we borrowed, a little bit more, and we have completed our mission to buy the beer factory and grow Oklahoma. So now we are on to delivering weapons to Camp Ratoon. And weapons are only accessible here. There's only some weapons here as well, but these are our competitor's weapon and his private weapons depot, so we cannot get any weapons from there. We're gonna get our own weapons. And then this weapon resource, it will disappear as soon as we have delivered 40 weapons to Camp Ratoon. And the way that I wanted to deliver that is I took this long line coming from Camp Ratoon, going through Dodge, and then so in between these two circles there was room to build an extra one, and then put some trains on here, and then just straight over to Ratoon. But also picking up some passengers and doing a little bit of this and that on the way to make some extra money. When I was at it and building things for Camp Ratoon, I also had this mission to build this express line going from Omaha to Ratoon. I changed that later on because it wasn't really that profitable. It was way too long for them to go all the way like this. But then still crisscrossing this circular zones is often profitable, but one should keep in mind that it shouldn't be too long. But then instead I made for this line here to go to Topeka, who are now having a ceramics factory, which I might bump up a little bit by the time. When bumping up and building a ceramics factory, it's very important to have clay, and then the clay production has to be the same as the clay demand here. It demands less coal, but lots of clay. Clay and ceramics factory have to be on the same level to support each other, but one only needs half that amount of coal. So, and then I expanded upon this extra little line here, so that this one that used to be a freight line just going straight to Topeka now is a sort of a mixed line, bringing goods both to Topeka and Oklahoma, but also passengers from Oklahoma to Topeka. And then as we have these excellent mixed trains, they are now not only bringing goods but adding mostly goods, but adding upon a little bit extra passengers here and there to make it more profitable. Goods might be more important, but passengers pay more money for a ride, so never neglect the passengers or the mail. All right, and then we will see how this works as soon as we get to deliver the weapons. We will have our last missions, and then we will open up these areas down here for further expansion. So let's see how this plays out. And then we made it. We have now progressed 18 months into time, so it's kind of built a lot in the time. We made it pretty nice. We've completed all our tasks, including the optional ones. Pretty decent score, and we made it in only 3.8 years, a little less than 4 years. So see, let's see what did we do? How did we manage to achieve this? And then, first of all, we can look at our budget, see how that worked out. We are now making an absolute killing, connected all the cities, and also been able to grow all the cities. The cities started out very small, but now they're not small anymore. Putting as many trains as we could on these tracks, we could have built much more tracks and developed this further and such. No limit now, but then I stopped that at some point. So then we have a little much traffic jams. 8% is a little high. 5 should be perhaps optimal. Steadily growing all the way. And then also now we have been able to pay back all our bonds. We could take up these huge bonds, almost borrowing 100 millions if we like to build whatever we see. So our missions after we delivered the weapons were to first of all achieve a rail line, express rail line between Denver and Albuquerque, and then to develop damming and bring all the necessary goods down there. Pretty special goods, steel and chemicals. These are more advanced goods. We also could buy our opponent's company, which we did. Didn't bother to build too much around where he already had his existing infrastructure. Just bought it. It cost about 10 millions, which was not so very much for us. And found more cities and such. This sort of came natural with our play style. So let's see, what did we do? We already had this little circle going around Oklahoma, Dodge, Wichita, and then we expanded. We built a new circle down here, and Amarillo, Lubbock, Abilene, Dallas, Oklahoma thing like this. And then that left us resources in the middle that couldn't be part of this circle. So just built a simple line going diagonally from Oklahoma to Lubbock. But we could have made this more elaborate. We could have made a line going like this, for example, from Amarillo to Oklahoma, and then one from Lubbock to Dallas, and then connected them through hotels, for example, around Baker and Clark. That would be interesting. And but we didn't do that now. And then I built upon this extra little circle going around and around this mountain. And then they only include this one city, and then you have this camp down here. But then I add upon hotels in these meeting points. So and the hotels are kind of running good. Hotels can be really profitable if built in a junction like here. So this is a proper circle, this little mountain thing, and there wasn't any other way to go about, I think, because I needed to connect whatever is down south here to whatever is already built up north, and so I had to have a little extra circle. I think so, at least. And then for the last circle, this circle doesn't really go down to Deming. It just goes down Santa Fe Albuquerque, Lubbock, Amarillo, around and around like this. Leaving only one resource in the middle, the Stewart resource, goes straight down to Albuquerque who needs it. But then we had this mission to build the express line from Deming, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Raccoon, Denver. So we built that. And then I built it 4 lanes. So then there are room for both express trains and mixed trains. I don't put them on freight because that will exclude the passengers, and I want them to pick up passengers too, so that it can be extra profitable. I also built upon this extra line from Deming here, going all the way. It's a really long line. Sometimes long lines are problematic. It messes up the flow of goods. But I built a long line because I needed it to go into Dodge to pick up these chemicals that it needs. And then I thought, okay, you can go to Wichita as well. So we go all the way down there. A little bit extra here, a little adding upon like this. This is more like a docking station. Doesn't really take passengers. And then move these goods over to the main line here. In the north, as soon as we removed our competitor up here, we were able to build a connection with Denver. Denver is split here because this line going down south is much more passenger-like and flatter, and while this needs for an express, while this line is a different. I don't put express lines there. They have too low tractive power, too much hills, too few passengers. I rather put 2 mixed lines on this track. Built it like this. Just adding 4 lanes together, having it go back and forth, 2 up, 2 down, like this. While on the other line, the more express-like, down here and here, then I will have built it just 2 complete separate lines, like this, so that there would be no mix-up between the express line going here, the fastest way, and the mixed line over here. Same, did the same over here. Changed this into express and dedicated express and mixed lines separate. Also build some little extra lines up here. This one is not a mixed line because it's too long compared to the others. It's just a straight freight line. Little extra circle in here, and then build upon. I had this idea to build a new circle inside this circle and then make much more circles inside and connect them to hotels. Connecting to hotels can be very, very, very neat. For further expansion, one can also, one can take the challenge and really build a tunnel. I've done that before, build a tunnel here. Not really particularly lucrative, but it's kind of cool to be able to complete a full circle around Denver, Santa Fe, and up to Grand Junction. It's kind of nice. We can have a little tiny bit of look at how the warehouses are functioning. Warehouses are very important. One needs to figure it out, and one needs to do it easy. One needs to see that it's not flipping back and forth. I think I'm going to make a video about how to do it and how not to do it. If these lines start becoming wiggly all over the screen, there will be not so great results. But all these circles and circular zones, they are connected to each other somehow, all getting their stuff, preferably from just one place. Sometimes they get it from 2 places. That might also be good. Check out supply and demand, see how everything is holding up. And well, I think that perhaps would sum it up. And then one can feel free to like and subscribe and such. And I'm particularly happy if somebody left some comments, to see how things are going. And then goodbye, and I hope to see you later.